Super Mario's Japanese patent company, Nintendo, blocked Hollywood's attempts at making Mario a bumbling oaf and a co-star of his own movie, which, as we are about to see, was the original intention. The result of Nintendo's intervention was twofold. On one hand, the movie was flogged by the professional critics of the entertainment media complex, most visibly Grace Randolph. But on the other hand, it was universally embraced by the actual movie-going audience, who rewarded it with the type of box office Marvel movies used to get when the audience still had faith in the Marvel brand. What this shows, once again, is just how out of touch both Hollywood and the professional critics of the entertainment media complex are with the audience they are supposed to serve, namely the movie-going audience. In this editorial, I will begin with going through how Hollywood tried to subvert Super Mario before Nintendo blocked them, how the resulting movie ended up being a near-perfect family film, and why this is a data point that neither Hollywood nor the entertainment media complex can afford to ignore. A couple of weeks ago, our friend, peer and Hollywood insider WDW Pro broke the scoop that early in the scripting stage, distributor Universal and production company Illumination, Hollywood incumbents both of them, tried to infuse the movie with modern Hollywood sensibilities. By which I mean, the movie was really about Peach. She was to be the ultimate girl boss. The movie was to revolve around her. And in being a male, Mario was to be an incompetent and inept buffoon that would spend the entire movie being rescued by her several times over. As such, the brother dynamic with Luigi and every other aspect of the script suffered. However, as reported by WDW Pro, this was when Nintendo stepped in and demanded that production company Illumination change the script in order to make Mario the focal point and the ultimate hero, and that Luigi be given his moments to shine as well, because the brand is called the Super Mario Brothers and not Super Peach. Before giving my take on what Nintendo's intervention did for the movie, let's see how the establishment critics, here represented by Grace Randolph, took it.
I have never seen an Illumination misfire this bad. In fact, I don't think they've ever misfired. This is not only the worst movie they've ever made, but in my opinion, the only bad movie they've ever made. And maybe what's different here? It's because Nintendo was so involved creatively, as you can see from the credits when you watch the movie. I guess it doesn't always work out like with The Last of Us.
While some of the girl boss aspects from the early script drafts remained despite Nintendo's intervention, I submit that overall, Super Mario Bros. Ended up being the perfect family movie because of Nintendo's intervention. Before I break down why, there is one thing everyone has to keep in mind. The first thing any reviewer old enough to remember playing the original Mario games needs to remember, and this is where the entirety of the establishment media critics failed, is that this movie isn't made for us. We long since aged out of the target demographic. I don't mean that in the kind of excuse woke fail condescending Brie Larson kind of way.
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him.
But as a simple statement of fact. If you are old enough that you either had a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo, or for that matter a Sega Mega Drive, but you, like me, weren't above playing Mario while visiting friends who had the Nintendo, then understand that you are not the target audience. This movie is made for our children, while at the same time being accessible to us. Of course, quite a few establishment critics, willfully or otherwise, didn't understand this, possibly because they don't have children of their own. But I do, so allow me to break down why Super Mario Bros. Is a great family film. Since the movie is made for children, Mario and Luigi both live at their parents'. So do children, meaning they can instantly relate. Like most kids, Mario and Luigi wake up in the morning. They do their chores, and sometimes things just go wrong. They don't mean for anything to go wrong, they don't try to be bad, but sometimes things just happen. Things go wrong, and despite their best efforts, Mario and Luigi end up disappointing their parents. This is especially hard on Mario, who is brave and has always looked out for his brother Luigi, and he wants to make his parents proud of him. Later, this theme recurs with Donkey Kong. For all his bravado, he too wants to make his father proud. Peach is something of a girl boss, but what reviewers of my generation need to remember is that while she was a damsel in distress back in our day, she has been a playable character for so many years now that girls growing up today don't remember a time when she wasn't, and she is their favorite. For that reason, she can't be relegated to the role of damsel in distress, not anymore, and so it is Luigi that needs rescuing, which fiscally and narratively makes sense. Boys tend to identify with Mario more so than Luigi, while girls identify with Peach. But everyone loves Luigi and wants to rescue him, which both girls and boys get to actively do by living vicariously through Mario and Peach respectively. If the movie has a flaw, it is the remnants of where production company Illumination initially wanted to take Peach, before Nintendo blocked them. As WDW Pro suggested it would, some of that remains, and it comes to the surface in one line. At one point, Mario is frustrated because he is struggling with a training course, which it emerges Peach aced in her very first attempt. That is pure Hollywood, and it is also pure toxic. First, it tells boys that they are inferior, and second, it sets a standard for girls that they cannot possibly live up to, as in reality, there are no girl bosses. The good news is that that's the end of the bad news right there, because while no longer a damsel in distress, Peach still needs saving from the obsessed monster that is Bowser, and without the help of Mario, she is powerless to stop him. In short, the movie gives young boys a role model in Mario, who looks out for his siblings and community, protects women, and wants to make his parents proud. It gives young girls a role model in Peach, who is a princess and who is capable, but she does need a man, a good man like Mario, to protect her. Oh, and on top of that, it's a fun movie with tons and tons of cool Nintendo references, but a straightforward story and some moments of true cinematic excellence.
Nothing is explained to the audience. Not the world, not the characters, not the circumstances, and not even really the point. And since they insisted on putting Mario in the real world, so to speak, why do he and Luigi wear those funny outfits and gloves? I was like, you guys look ridiculous. I mean, none of it made sense. Nothing in the movie made sense, so it was hard for me to get into any of it.
Lady, I don't know what the hell you were watching, but this is literally addressed in the movie. Now, I really don't mean to throw any undue shade at Grace in particular, and Lord knows she got so much flack for her, if we're honest, inept and tone-deaf review that she had to excuse herself with, "See, all my friends in the entertainment media complex hated it too." But that's the whole point. You are all so completely and utterly out of touch with reality and the actual movie-going public that your opinions as reviewers are worthless. Not too long ago, The Atlantic made a whole article about how establishment video game journalists made themselves useless by their virtue-signaling reviews of Hogwarts Legacy being completely out of touch with their audience. Well, Super Mario Bros. Shows that the same is true where film punditry is concerned. Remember, Hollywood tried to do the movie one way, Nintendo blocked them, and Nintendo were right. Because Nintendo forced Illumination and Universal to go the common sense direction, they now have a hit on their hands, and an argument can be made that they've already beaten Disney in their game at creating magic moments for families. But that wouldn't have happened without Nintendo's interference. Hollywood, take heed. Don't ignore this data point. You are in a bubble and out of touch with the real world and real audiences. Ignore the real world like Disney did on your own peril. Nintendo, stay the course, stay on Illumination's back, and the NCU will replace the MCU in no time flat. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments.